I need help. Lately, I've come to the realization that my entire career is a big joke. I'm aware that every big star needs to utilize their power in order to create a product that will eventually make them ultra rich. Mr. Beast, he's got Feastables. Ryan Reynolds, he's got Mint Mobile. Soulja Boy's got the Soulja Phone. Why didn't I come up with the Soulja Phone? Well, today I'm going to change that because I actually am going to be attending the most prestigious academic institution in this country. It's masterclass. Now, the bottom line is that the only way I can really repair my tarnished public image is to learn from the absolute best when it comes to personal branding. Someone who can turn me into a money printer and a big star.
I'm Kris Jenner, and this is Masterclass.
Ta-da! I can tell there's a lot of wisdom in that pixie cut. Let me in there, Kris, let me in. Ah! I'm just joking around. The Kardashians are brand bananas. These guys cannot stop selling stuff. And apparently you can just pay her a bunch of money and she'll tell you all her secrets. And I can tell that she's got a lot of valuable and detailed advice jam-packed into this 2.5-hour course. There are 12 episodes to get through, so hopefully by the end of this class, I can figure out how to keep the Nick is Not Green boat afloat. Because it's got a lot of holes in it right now. We gotta save the ship. Any day now, I'll figure out the product that'll make me retire. Maybe it's the Nick is Not Green toaster, or the Nick is Not Green antibacterial wet wipes. Anyways, enough with the talking. Let's just dive in and I'll show you what I learned. I'm here for my first day of class. It's looking an awful lot like a 2021 Nick is Not Green commentary video, and I'm a little bit uncomfortable about that. But have no fear, I'm gonna be taking notes. Let's dive in. Now, Kris Jenner enters this course with a 5-minute introduction into who she is and what you're gonna learn in this course. I expected this session to be kind of riddled with big generalized ideas about branding, and that is exactly what I got.
I have 44.5 million followers on Instagram.
In this country, Kris Jenner is kind of seen as the master Yoda of marketing, a wise, old, humble leader that won't be afraid to tell us the hard truths about life. And maybe one day I'll be her little baby Yoda.
A personal brand is the way that one presents themselves to the world. It's the way you market yourself.
It's so inspiring.
Thanks, Ash. My overall personal branding philosophy.
Who just said that? Who just said so inspiring? Was that the person doing makeup on her?
It's so inspiring.
Thanks, Ash.
What is so inspiring? You know, all that talking about yourself made me really want to dive into personal branding. I mean, that's question one for me. Who the hell is personal branding? Let's take some notes. That's a Tide stick. So first step, who the hell is Parson L. Brandon?
My overall personal branding philosophy is to simply be your authentic self.
First of all, who is Kris Jenner trying to trick? We all know that's not a collared shirt under there. We can all see through the shirt.
We'll cover utilizing the power of social media and making a brand profitable, and how to handle fame while staying grounded, graceful, and true to yourself without
What the
a
hell?
success-driven
Where
mentality.
did she come from? I don't think this is the power of personal branding at all. This is the power of witchcraft. I'm just excited that I'm getting another Kardashian for free. I thought I paid all this money just for Kris. Now I'm getting Chloe. I introduced you to the star of the show. I say let's just dive right in. Episode 2 is called Creating Your Personal Branding Story, and it made me very interested to learn about the unique perspective that Kris Jenner must have in the marketing world, coming from a viral national sensation. Now, immediately as I began this lesson, I started to realize that a lot of this advice was, useless, I guess. They start putting these little text boxes on the screen as if you're supposed to be taking notes on them, but I don't really think she legitimately gives one piece of tangible advice, at least in this lesson.
Kris Jenner, the brand, and Kris Jenner, the person, are very, very similar. I play myself.
The next big step is that you have to make the brand as close to your real life self as possible. You see, there's only so much room. Wait, that's totally the opposite of what I meant to draw. See all this right here? Your life needs to be this much of the brand. You need to tell them about your family. You need to tell them about personal struggles you're having. Maybe you're depressed. Maybe you're seeing a new therapist. Maybe tell them about your social security number.
Honestly, look inside yourself.
Yep.
And spend some time thinking about what really makes you happy. I was doing what I love to do, which is filming a television show.
God, I never even thought about it like that. Oh, god damn, I paid $120 for this.
Figure out what you really love to do in life and then find a way to get paid for it.
Okay, find a way to get paid. Sounds easy enough to me.
You have to identify what you're good at.
Oh, Kris, while I was working on my personal brand, I totally forgot to identify what I'm good at. Thank you for reminding me.
You have to do something that you're interested in, that you want to learn about, that you're willing to explore, that comes naturally to you, that you can talk about.
And she kind of just keeps going. It's almost like they just gave her this bullet point list of arbitrary advice to rattle off to the audience, and she's just supposed to kind of improv it. That's why they call these master classes, because these people are masters at what they do. You're not going to learn about personal branding from a marketing professor. If you want to become an actor, you're not going to go to like an acting coach. You got to go to you got to go to Leonardo DiCaprio.
And you need to love what you're doing, because that's going to make all the difference in your level of success. I love what you're doing. I like that. And it does take time, and it does evolve, and it does need some tweaks, and you have to be ready to pivot and change direction.
I really like that they're putting all these rectangles up on the screen. I feel like it's really giving me an idea of what I need to do.
Be able to take direction and criticism, and be able to turn things around on a dime.
Do you think they just let her talk? They just turn on the camera and let her talk, and then they're like, we'll cut everything together, we'll make it into stuff. You just yap about whatever you want to do for like 3 hours. One of the first topics that Kris really dives into is authenticity. And that basically means she's going to tell you how authentic she is for like the next 10 minutes.
For me, it's always been about being very authentic, because I started building my brand and my family's brand on a television show, on a reality show. We really didn't think about who we wanted to portray. We just were ourselves. We just are who we are.
It's not a lot of advice outside of just sort of doing it. You have to be you. Aw, so encouraging. I just want to be me. I just got to be myself. But luckily, before the end of episode 2, don't fret, because we got some very legitimate advice from Kris.
Like, what do you want to say? How do you want to communicate that? How do you connect the dots? You have to like make yourself a vision board. Figure out.
Did she know she was going to say that before they started teaching this part of the lesson, or do they make up the chapters as they go?
You have to like make yourself a vision board.
Because it really seems like she just thought about that on the spot. She really made it seem like she improvised it, but now it's a whole lesson. She's just pulling a whole lesson out of her ass. Now, finally, I've been given a tangible assignment that will move me closer to success with my personal brand. Now, she doesn't really explain what a vision board is. She doesn't really ever tell you how to actually do it, but she will talk about it a lot. She loves the vision boards.
I didn't really utilize vision boards until my kids really introduced her inspirational boards. I started creating my first vision board on my phone, a huge piece of poster board in my office, where I could actually print out an image and tack it up there and really look at it from afar, standing 10 feet away and just kind of dwelling on things and thinking about things.
Yeah, that's some good advice. Just dwell on stuff. Why don't you guys just dwell on stuff? Just think about it for a second. So for the vision board, we need a big old piece of poster board, and we need to look at it from 10 feet away. Because if you're looking too close, then you're not vision, you're out. Shit.
I think it's really important when you're enhancing a brand or creating a new brand to do research.
Good. That's a really good point. I didn't think about that. I literally didn't think about that. Now, I didn't really expect the most prestigious academic institution in the country to tell us to create a vision board, but I guess this is just a reminder that even the titans of the industry can still make treasure out of spare parts. You got to put that up on a rectangle for me. That's some golden advice right there. Oh, I messed it up. This is my vision board. Ignore that. Okay, so first we need to go on Google, I guess.
I get online, whether it's Instagram or Google. I think it's also really important to discover a white space within.
Okay, I don't know if I'm fully comfortable with that.
I really want you to start your personal brand journey with a vision board exercise.
One step ahead of you, I'm already doing my assignment. I'm doing the homework before the teacher has even dismissed the class. So first I have to find things that really represent me as a brand. And even though it's been a while since I've made the beanie a big part of what I do, it still is something that helped me get as big as I was. A lot of people say if it wasn't for the beanie, you would just be a little meanie. So I'll put that right there on my vision board. Next up, I'm a bit of a sweet tooth, so we're going to go with a little packet of Gushers. I found a pass to VidCon 2022. Obviously, that is something I aspire to go to. This is not mine, this is Devin's, but, you know, it still is something that I want to aspire to have in the future. I really hope they invite me. I mean, who could forget my classic hat? I think Kris is really going to like my vision board. I think that she's going to start using it as the example that she shows future classes on what people need to be doing in order to build out their narrative, their brand narrative. You know, I know it's only episode 2. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but at this point in the lesson, I really started to question authority. You know, I really want to surrender my control to someone who knows the best about personal branding. But I can't help but wonder if Kris has any idea what she's even going to teach us over the next 12 lessons about marketing. You know, I think she should have made a vision board for this masterclass she's teaching. I don't know. Okay, episode 3, we're really moving now. How about we talk about Kris's childhood and why she felt like she was destined to be a mom? And a brand icon, of course, you know? The class is still about that. It's totally about brand stuff. You know, she starts off the lesson talking about her childhood, but she really hits you with a very valuable piece of advice right here.
And she used to tell me, it doesn't matter what you're doing, but you need to do it really well. So no matter how small the task, no matter how big the job, do it to the best of your ability.
She is just a genius. Who else would come up with this? And that tip deserves a rectangle on the screen so you know it's important. Find something to do and do it well.
And if you can't do it very well, then figure it out and learn.
I don't mean to be the kid that asks the teacher whether or not we're checking homework, but I did do my project and I did bring it here to class. And I'm quite literally presenting it behind me, and she's not saying a single goddamn thing about the vision board. How am I supposed to know if I did a good job? And she talks about how being a Girl Scout helped her become a businesswoman. That's half the episode. It's just that she did Girl Scouts.
My mother enrolled me in brownies and Girl Scouts, selling Girl Scout cookies.
But finally, halfway through this episode, Kris starts talking about her daily routine. And that's where I felt like I really had some notes to take. Every celebrity has their own quirky routine that makes them as successful as they are. Every powerful person has one. Mark Wahlberg actually famously has a really twisted, demented schedule that actually landed him his role in Ted 2.
A day in the life of Kris Jenner starts at 4 a.m.
There's no goddamn way. There's no way she's waking up at 4 a.m.
I have coffee.
I guess I'd be 4:15?
Get into the gym.
Okay, get into the gym. Well, for her, she probably has a gym inside the house. She's probably not going anywhere for the gym. So I'm going to say that's 4:30.
I go someplace where I can work out and get on a treadmill. And I return emails, and I text, and I can make some international phone calls.
While you're at the gym on the treadmill, you need to be taking calls, emails, especially calling people in different countries. And 7 a.m., she's already off to work. I don't know if she ate anything. I don't care. I just care about how she gets to the grind. At least I know the grind is there.
I go everywhere and get anywhere about a half an hour early, just so I can sit, ground myself.
Wait, so if work starts at 7 a.m., does that mean that she needs to be there by 6:30 instead?
There's this amazing satisfaction that comes with going to bed at night and laying your head on the pillow and try to do the best at what's been given you.
So is she going to explain what the rest of the routine for the day is, or? I wasn't really prepared for this kind of advice when I jumped in the class. I didn't think that was what I was getting. But if Kris thinks that's what it takes to make my business boom, then so be it. I'm in.
I started having kids when I was 23 years old.
Okay, I missed the mark on that. I'm 24. You know, Kris does a great job at talking about the experience that she needed in order to get to this point of success. And basically in every episode, she reveals another necessary job that she had that really brought her to this point in her personal branding career.
I was asked to do all the treats for the Buckley School, fair. And you would make, desserts or something to sell.
How is that supposed to help my personal brand? I'm supposed to go and do a bake sale? That's how I'm supposed to start building the Nick is Not Green empire, is through a bake sale? Forgive me if this is disrespectful, but I feel like I'm getting the vibe that this is less of a masterclass, like a course on how to do something the best you can. And it's more of like a TED talk about Kris Jenner's life, I guess, and mixed in with some generalized statements about trying harder and waking up and making your bed and cleaning the goddamn sink.
And I remember I was going to make the most brownies, because that was my specialty, of anybody that had made brownies. And I remember making so many brownies.
I got to do 9 more lessons. So then Kris brings this episode to a close after a few minutes of her talking about her family's reality TV show. And even though on day 1 I really only got through like a quarter of the class, that was about all I could take for the day, so I logged off. I'm back, episode 4. I feel like I have senioritis for a university that I've been attending for 2 days. I've been editing all this other footage the past few days. I'm cutting like a lot of what I'm watching here because it's just the same thing over and over again. I don't think I can take that much more. But episode 4 is keeping up with the Kardashians, how it started. I thought we've been talking about that for the past 3 episodes. Every episode has been about her family starting a reality show. You get to episode 4 and you'd think that you're like kind of in the midst of the lessons now. You know, we should be getting into the nitty gritty of it.
The show became such a huge hit so fast, it was really kind of overwhelming.
Chloe's in jail. She got a DUI.
Instead of saying, take that out, oh my God, that's, we realized that part of the beauty of the show was that we were showing everything.
The beauty of the show is that they're just like bad people. Forgive me. I did that was uncalled for. Let me keep watching. Kris loves talking about how authentic her family is and how that made the show as good and successful as it was. And then in the same sentence explaining how her family had cameramen in the hospital room so they could use her grandson's birth for content on the show.
My favorite episode is the day that Mason was born, because Courtney just reached down and pulled him right out of her tummy by herself. And I was like, what's happening?
Jeez, I didn't want to see the goddamn thing with all the shit on it. Sorry, I've never experienced a live birth before. Okay? Am I crazy for that? Are you gonna ridicule me for that? I mean, that's what it takes to get 100% authenticity. And then she spends the next 10 minutes talking about how her family had the rights to cut out whatever they wanted to in keeping up with the Kardashians, but they decided not to cut out anything because they're so authentic and they really care about the fans.
Knowing that we could see it before it aired was always sort of a safety blanket. We just didn't because it really was so raw.
This is so specific to families that are starting reality TV shows. I don't know if this is going to work for all entrepreneurs.
We've become a brand and people are associating us with products and a certain lifestyle. It evolved in such a great way. And suddenly there was, as the years went by, more and more eyeballs as we grew. And that's what made it really exciting.
So because you had the reality TV show, you had the opportunity to connect your brands to it, and it just kept getting bigger. What does that have to do with my brand? I don't have a reality TV show. I can't tell you one thing that she said in that episode that wasn't already said in the other episodes. We've already been talking about the TV show the whole time. Okay, I've got good news. I got bad news. The good news is that this is the first episode that actually gives the audience tangible information. The bad news is that the tangible information is I don't know if I'd say it's masterclass level advice.
Who's going to be drawn to what you have to say and how you represent yourself.
I don't know why I heard like someone say something behind me. Oh, that freaked me out. Maybe there's like a marketing ghost haunting my office.
Who your target audience is will really dictate how you communicate. So if you post something that they're really excited about and they don't hear from you for 2 months, that's not going to build a brand. What hashtags are those people using? Follow those.
Thank God I came to masterclass to learn from the best in personal branding. What hashtags are other brands using? Hey guys, did you try using hashtags? Did you try posting online? Did you try getting a reality show with your family? You have to find your target audience. You have to post often. Hashtags? You guys remember hashtags? Maybe you should also read your comments. That's a good idea. Now, at this point in the episode, I was wondering why Masterclass branded this as a personal branding course and not a course on how to become an influencer, because it really seems like a lot of her advice is specifically geared towards people who want to build a brand specifically through being an influencer promoting that brand.
You know, we all use hashtags for different reasons. And
True.
When we do a hashtag, for example, and we're launching a product and it's business, we use, for example, hashtag Fendi X Skims. That helps us. If somebody clicks on that, they can also see the other hashtags associated with that launch. The other things that were posted, follow along with.
So did you guys catch that? Fendi X Skims.
I want you to really pay attention to any responses you get on social media or also any feedback you get from anywhere. This will let you know how to evolve your brand messaging to your audience as you develop your brand.
And luckily, she decides to devote a whole section of the class to becoming a brand influencer, even though she's kind of been talking about that the entire time.
An influencer is somebody who brings a desire to be aware of something to the table in a way that maybe you hadn't seen it before and influence you to try it, to buy it, to sample it, to learn about it.
Okay, take your goddamn time. Oh my. And let's talk about maybe my favorite part of the whole course, which is that Kris Jenner kind of has this way of speaking that really wears me out. She starts by giving us an obvious definition of some obvious thing that she's bringing up in the class, but then she'll start just rattling off a list of things that make the sentence way longer than it should. It's hard to explain. It happens so many times in this class. I'll show you an example.
The ultimate level of influencing is just showing and teaching and learning and having and creating a desire
keep doing the list
to have something that maybe you wouldn't ordinarily have thought about.
It's like the sentences sometimes just don't ever end. They just keep on going. They keep rolling into the next thing.
If you're just starting out, I think the best steps to take toward becoming an influencer are to study influencers in the space you'd like to be in.
Oh, there's Kris with another piece of wisdom hot off the presses. Hey guys, if you want to be an influencer, maybe you should just study other influencers. That's a good idea. I think the issue is that because she's so connected to the brand, this class isn't about actual marketing or any tactics that are actually going to help people out there. It's just oh, you just have to get famous, and then once you're famous, you can start making brands and influencing people to buy those brands, and that's how you do it. Now, most people don't usually have the famous part, so that kind of renders most of everything that I've watched so far kind of useless. But I'm only in the 5th episode. I got 7 more to go, so...
I think it's a good idea to track what they're responding to the most. I think everybody looks at their numbers from time to time. I know I do. It's if I go back and I'm looking at my Instagram and I'm checking in, I always take a peek and see what resonated with somebody.
And this is kind of the part of the episode where I start to lose my mind a little bit. Kris kind of just takes the rest of the episode to talk about her Instagram and what photos on her Instagram get the most likes.
The number one post that I've had so far is the post of Courtney and Travis's engagement. So that was, it was magical. And I think everybody was
What am I supposed to do with this information? So her biggest post was Kourtney and Travis Barker getting engaged. Wow. Let me write that down. Not. It is maybe the most useless part of the course, but Kris really takes her time on it. She really insists that this is information that you need to know.
And the next top 5 were me and my kids. So the family...
Aren't like most of your photos you and your kids?
I'm a mom and a grandma. And when I post my kids and my grandkids, I really get a lot of likes. You can learn so much from how the viewers and your followers are responding. And some of them can be very, very vocal.
Listen, can we just take a second and back up and realize what we're looking at here? What am I watching? I'm supposed to be watching a masterclass. I paid over $100 in order to have access to this course. And she's telling me to watch how the things I post are being received. Luckily, we made it to the end of the course, and Kris is ready to give us our assignment for the day.
On any platform, pick 2 to 3 hashtags and maybe 2 to 3 accounts that align with your brand.
I don't think I can watch 7 more episodes. And the 12th episode is just a 47-minute live interview lesson that they tag on at the end, which really only makes this like an hour and a half. I literally only watched 20 minutes today and I can't watch anymore. I'm like, it's just... Then Kris comes out of the gates with a red hot take on the haters. I'm sort of at this point in the masterclass where I'm realizing that we're just going to kind of keep hearing the same thing over and over again. And I only have so many jokes that I can make about Kris Jenner saying that you have to handle the haters with grace. I don't know who Person L. Brandon is. How am I supposed to know who Grace is? Hey guys, treat others the way you want to be treated. And give me $100. I need $100 now for this class. You know, at a certain point, I just don't really feel like it's worth it to spend more time on dissecting what is going on here. It's not really worth it for me to talk about how Kris is teaching us how to block words on Instagram so that the haters don't get to us. Day 3, I thought I'd knock out some lessons before I go get my hair cut. I say let's dive into it. Episode 6, social media, owning it. Episode 6. This is the one where Kris teaches us everything we need to know about using social media for our brand. Now, Kris is kind of just giving advice to people who already have a social media following from their massively famous reality TV show, but hopefully I can find some ways to apply this advice to my own brand.
Hey guys, okay, so we're gonna call some of our random friends and family and just wish them lots of love and kindness today.
Yes, we are. Do you know how fabulous you are and how thoughtful and kind and generous and talented and creative?
What is with the lists? Why does she always go on just a run-on sentence of a list of things? Does she know how to wrap it up? If my family member called me to compliment me and then I learned that they were really just recording it for social media so they could show that they're being nice to me, I'd probably cut off communication.
I have 44.5 million followers on Instagram right now. And I'm so grateful for the people that follow me because it makes me feel like they've been with me for a really long time, since the very beginning. It's been a great extension of our television show.
Just come on.
Because we can follow things up. It's been a great voice.
Wrap it up, lady. You gotta wrap it up. You can't just keep saying the same thing over and over again. I'm becoming so grouchy.
And a great learning tool and a great place to go when I'm looking for something or when I want information.
Well, what's the class guide? So I was kind of confused when one of these rectangles popped up on the screen and it told me to visit the class guide.
What the hell?
So the class guide, this is something that Kris has never acknowledged or suggested to the audience. But when I opened it up, I stumbled upon a vast abundance of knowledge. I didn't realize I was supposed to be following the class guide this whole time. So we've got a family tree. This is almost a little bit of a vision board in itself, actually. So let me get this straight. Kris is the one who's teaching us about all the branding stuff. However, her business empire, like web, is only 3 TV shows that are basically the same thing: Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and then Kris, which I assume was like a one-off, and then this like soap brand. However, you come down here and you look at Khloe and Kim and Kourtney, they're the ones that should be talking to us about the brands. They're the ones that have a million things going on. So they also build out a graph of the many ways humans have self-promoted throughout history since 400 BC. What I know Kris Jenner didn't throw this together. I know she didn't come up with this. I'm starting to realize that this guide is more of the masterclass than these videos of her sort of just like talking about herself. But I get it. How else are you supposed to talk about personal branding if you're not going to talk about your personal brand? I mean,
It's very important to remember to keep posting about something, just to keep everybody
that is a crazy advice.
with a story. It doesn't have to be some long drawn out thing that you're creating as a feed post. If it's a story, it can be short and sweet.
I also am just still having trouble processing the fact that she's teaching us about the difference between a story and a feed post right now. Kris tends to pick advice that is either very specific to her own situation, or it is the most basic beginner level social media advice.
But for me and my kids, we find that the sweet spot for posting is about 3 times a day for both your Instagram feed and stories. And TikTok, well, that's a free-for-all. So you may want 1 or 2 a week, or you just have to find the cadence that works best for your brand. I've realized in my experience that Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, it's all really very valuable. And it's the way that you use it.
I feel like it's crazy that she's not acknowledging that the only reason why these things are as valuable as they are to her are because she already had the followers on all of these pages from the moment she started using them. She never had to grind from the bottom.
But I haven't done any of my TikTok dances yet. So stay tuned. Okay, I'm going to start practicing. Get it right.
This one's a big one for me. And then this part in the lesson is Kris just basically telling you to spread love online. No hate, don't hate, no haters.
I think that you just need to spread love and good energy. You know, when we're talking about social media, I think it just needs to be creative and amazing.
Thanks, Kris. Creative and amazing. It's crazy that I didn't come up with that. Yes, finally. This is what I've been waiting for.
I think that people can be really mean on social media. Even I'll read 30 comments that will say, oh, you know, you're doing amazing, sweetie. And then you read one comment that's ugly, and it really can ruin your day.
And these generalized, like, dumbed down tips just get worse and worse through every episode of the class.
I was raised, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So many ways to help block bad words, the things that you don't want talked about. That's the best advice I can give somebody who's getting any kind of negativity.
I feel like the way Masterclass makes the content is they just let her say whatever they want, and then they're sort of just like, you just go see more information in the class guide, and then they actually do the work behind the scenes to like give you hopefully information that's like valuable. How to handle online harassment. Don't feed the trolls. Should you clap back? So this episode is pretty hard to differentiate from the last episode that we just watched on social media.
You have to be super careful because you only have one chance to make a good first impression. And
I'm 7 episodes into a masterclass about personal branding, and I just learned that a good first impression is everything.
so they hear what you're talking about, they see you, and they hear your message.
They hear you, they see you, and then they hear you. She spends one section talking about how you have to take like selfie videos for your audience and demonstrate your products so you can connect with them more.
It should be spoken. People love when you talk. It should be a selfie. People love to see you. The way that people are going to identify at an instant looking at a logo and not even knowing or reading the name of the brand necessarily.
Do any of these look like logos to you? The Kardashians are not really the best example when it comes to people creating great graphic design for their brands. Khloe Kardashian's clothing brand Good American is just the text in big letters Kylie Cosmetics, it's just the word Kylie in even bigger letters.
Looking at a logo and not even knowing or reading the name of the brand necessarily.
Kris, how can you see the logo without reading the name of the brand when the logo is literally the name of the brand?
Somebody sent me a quote yesterday that said, behave like you can't afford the loaf of bread when in fact you own the bakery. You're welcome.
Don't you're welcome me. That wasn't even your quote. You didn't even come up with that.
You're welcome.
That is amazing.
Maybe I'll start a cooking platform.
You could call it Upper Crust, and crust could be a K.
I like it. Then you could
Who is this guy?
be passionate about what you're doing.
That's good
Do
advice.
something that you love.
Thank you.
Because if you can figure out what you love and make a business out of it and make money at it, it's golden.
Thank you. Thank you for that golden piece of information. All right, I got to go get my hair cut. So I'm stepping out of the classroom. I'm back, baby. Obviously, you could tell I took a little inspiration from the Queen. I personally don't really know if I totally got the look down. I look a little less like Kris Jenner and a little more like a creepy music executive. Yeah, I think I can make you famous. I think I can turn you into a star. You got that it factor. I'm kind of up to here with the masterclass. I decided, if I'm not going to become Kris Jenner myself, I don't want to continue this thing. And so I did exactly that. I think we should just watch it. Let it finish, okay? I'm not going to say anything. I don't have any tips to give. I just need to let her speak. I need to let her give her piece.
With Poosh and Courtney, it couldn't be a better fit.
Can't say pooch with a straight face. Come on.
It's doing exactly what feels right and having the balance.
Boring. Boring. And as a businessman, I kind of hit my boiling point when I hear someone talk enough bull crap. I already know these skills. I don't need someone with a pixie cut whispering them in my ear. I've got my own thing going on now.
Like better than anything I have at home.
Yo, this kind of looks like me right now.
Because I knew that if I put my effort, my creativity,
Boring.
Bras and
What the
underwear.
hell?
I was
So boring. I've got nothing to say. It was so boring.
in design, she'd
I should do a masterclass about how boring this goddamn presentation is. This whole class needs a makeover. Let's be honest. Let's just be honest about that. Can we be honest about that? I still have episode 10, and then I kind of have the conclusion right here. It's only a few minutes long. But then there's the 47-minute live questionnaire. Honestly, at this point, Kris has taught me enough where I feel like I could handle my own course. I feel like I could teach the wisdom that I have acquired over the years about my business. And I think I could do it better than her.
But the haters can be very loud.
Yeah.
And they don't have maybe a lot of other things going on and choose to spend their time negatively. And that's only going to impact their spirit.
Well, it says more about them than it does
That's
about
right.
us.
True. That totally does say more about them than it says about us. Let's be honest about that. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I just struggle to see how a producer can sit behind a camera and watch this happen. And, do you people have any shame? Seriously? Any shame? I just struggle to see how a producer can sit behind a camera and watch this happen. And, do you people have any shame? Seriously? Any shame? What the hell is that thing? Oh. Hi. Yeah, this is Nimbus. This is our new dog. We have a dog now. Anyways, I guess that's the video. Welcome back to the Nick is Not Green channel. Hopefully I'll be back and I'll make some more videos. Let me know what you want to see. If I do another masterclass, I think Neil deGrasse Tyson maybe even Usher, maybe even Bill Clinton. I don't know. I'll do anything. My band Queef Jerky just put a new song out right there. We have another new one coming out in a few weeks. I don't know. What's a classic Kris Jenner phrase? You're doing great, sweetie.